What is up, friends? Another day, another King of the Hill revival clip. We have a apparently full unedited clip from an episode of the King of the Hill revival. It is titled George W. Bush Museum. It was just released on the Hulu YouTube channel and I believe on the King of the Hill socials. I have not watched it yet. This will be a blind reaction. As you can tell, I have a busy day. That's why my hair is sopping wet, but we're going to do this. We're not taking any breaks for King of the Hill. So I'm about to hit play. You'll get my uncut reaction and then I'll talk about it. Okay, George, at the museum.
Actual baseball thrown by President Bush before Game 3 of the 2001 World Series, providing hope to a grieving nation?
Yes, you are making my job easy.
It's Jack McBrayer.
The president used to sign the legislation that lifted the ban on offshore drilling.
So many jobs created with one pen stroke.
Can we see something more
It's perfect.
This is interesting.
Hank being so interested, no one else caring. Oh, there's Nancy.
Just what I needed, Peggy.
A baseball and a pen. Maybe there's a letter opener I could use to kill myself. Don't you dare kill yourself.
Oh my God.
Peggy Hill.
Peggy, that's intense. Oh my God, what an intense line from Peggy. So first of all, just watching it here, I do think the animation looks a lot better in this than it did in the teaser. That being said, it still isn't great. It's still rigged characters, which is not going to be as expressive and it's not going to be as emotive as Riggs, but I do think that in full motion without the like altered editing and quick cut editing of a teaser, it looks pretty good. I think I'd rather have this than, you know, cheaper frame by frame animation, because if you have cheaper frame by frame animation and you don't have enough budget to fully animate that, you get really stiff characters. That's like kind of the new Futurama issue. But I think as far as the writing goes, this is pretty pitch perfect. Hank obsessing over the most minute details of George W. Bush's presidency, him throwing out the first pitch at the World Series, post 9/11, I guess a couple years after 9/11, and being excited about the offshore drilling pen. This feels pretty great and pretty tight, pretty well written to me. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. I think the writing is pretty on point. I think the backgrounds look pretty good. I think as far as like a rigged animated modern show, it's replicating the King of the Hill style adequately. It definitely doesn't look as good. It definitely is never going to look as good. But I also think that with these rigged animation shows, the longer they go on, the more they're able to sort of add into their repertoire. So hopefully it just gets better and better as it goes. Maybe this is the first episode back. I don't know. And this is interesting. So Dale and Nancy are there. So I think Dale and Nancy are still together, which I think some people were questioning because Nancy is seemingly back with John Redcorn, at least from the intro sequence. We don't know that for sure. There could be more to that going on than we know. I really like the Nancy design. We got a little glimpse of the Nancy design from the Grey Delisle leak, but it was like a weird inverted image. This is the first like real look at Nancy in the modern day. She's in a full tracksuit. I think they did a really great job with her character design and aging her up. She looks exactly like you'd expect her to look. I'm interested about this Peggy characterization. Maybe her time in Saudi Arabia has like unleashed something in her where she's in this very repressive culture. One thing that I noticed about the teaser trailer that I didn't mention is that it seems like that opening shot with the reflection of the market, which I'll throw up here, it seems like the person who is in the full black garb is Peggy trading with someone at the market. She seems to have glasses. She seems to be white. I think that's probably Peggy. So I'm curious if like Peggy's time in Saudi Arabia in this more repressive society has sort of unleashed something in her, because we've also seen from, well, I don't want to give away leaks too much in this video, but if you've seen my leak videos, you know that there's some language coming out of Peggy that is maybe something you wouldn't expect out of King of the Hill. I think if any character is going to unleash that kind of fury, it might be Peggy Hill. She is someone who seems very repressed and like she's got some fire in her that has always been waiting to come out. But I'm curious if there's an explanation for her seemingly intense attitude here. Her saying, let me find a letter opener to see if I can kill myself. Funny joke, but intense, like pretty intense. It's interesting that nobody else seems to be interested in this. Dale's not saying anything, doesn't seem interested. Peggy and Nancy are both clearly disinterested, including everyone else on the tour is disinterested, but Hank is just going so nuts for it. I feel like they've really locked in on the characterization of Hank Hill. I also think it's interesting, this clip seems to give us an answer to a question from the end of the episode where Hank was deciding whether or not to vote because of George W. Bush's limp handshake. I guess we don't know for sure who he voted for. We know he voted at the end of that episode. We don't know who he voted for. They never said. But I presume with his fondness looking back on the George W. Bush presidency here, it means he probably did end up voting for George W. at that point. I know that was a question a lot of people had. They kind of pointedly left it to be a question mark at the end of the episode. I also think it's possible that he, voted for someone else and then really actually appreciated the stuff George W. Bush did, as we can see in this clip, then, voted for him the second time. I don't know. They never really dive into the voting tendencies of Hank outside of saying he misses voting for Reagan and the limp handshake debacle. But I think we can presume this means he did vote for George W. Bush in the 2000 election, as was illustrated in that, I think is the season 5 premiere, maybe season 4 premiere from the year 2000. This feels right to me. The writing feels good. The writing feels strong here. Animation will for sure take some getting used to. What do you guys think about this? I'm pretty hopeful. Like the writing seems good. The voice acting seems pretty good here. I think some of the voice acting in the teaser seemed a little off because it was all these Frankenbites and like cut together and cobbled together in order to get narrative ideas across and do these big silly reveals. And so I think this is a little bit more what we can expect, and Hank's delivery is pitch perfect. Hank looks great. Honestly, the voice acting is great. Jack McBrayer, also a really fun guest star for this, for the host. That's like kind of like his page role in 30 Rock. I'm pretty excited. I think this is a good clip. I don't know if I'm going to do a video about this on the main channel. I might do a video specifically about the animation that will talk about this clip, but I don't know if I'm going to do a full breakdown. I don't know if there's enough here to just do like a full breakdown, even though I know you guys want it. I know there's an appetite for it. People are stoked for this damn revival. But I think I'm going to probably do a King of the Hill video by the end of the week that talks about this, but is also more so about like, why does the show look like this? Is it something that we should expect to look better as the show goes on, or is this kind of just what the show is now? Let me know below in the comments what you thought of this clip, what you thought about the writing, what you thought about how it looks visually, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.
I stay mellow watching Johnny Two Cellos. He talks cartoons, he's a really cool fellow. He keeps you posted on adult cartoons. If that's what you're into, then grab a spoon and a very big bowl of your favorite cereal. Feels like Saturday morning cartoon material. Johnny Two Cellos, watch him on YouTube. Now enjoy this groove and bust a move.